First of all, big welcome to all three of you. Thank you so much for joining us. I think between us all, we've played for England across 6 decades, which is amazing. But I think to get the ball rolling, we'll introduce ourselves. I'll kick things off. Lydia Greenway, former England cricketer, made my debut back in 2003 and retired in 2016. And we'll start with you, Heath.
Yep, I'm Heather Knight, current England captain, and I made my debut in 2010.
Still going strong?
Still going strong, trying.
Lynne?
I'm Lynne Thomas. I made my debut back in 1966 and I wish I was going strong.
Still not retired, Lynne, still available for selection.
Not officially retired.
I'm Carole Cornthwaite now, but when I was playing I was Carole Hodges. I debuted for England in 1982 and played until 1993 and did actually captain England in 86 and 87 as well. Probably should mention that.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Got a couple of captains as well around the table. I reckon the first thing that we're going to start with is about our experiences when we first found out we were all going to play for England. Obviously, it's a special moment that I'm sure we all remember well. Let's start with you, Heather.
I made my debut in 2010 out in India. I just had my first term at uni, actually, and I quite enjoyed my first time at uni. So I turned up in India as a sort of slightly chunky-faced fresher, not really sure what to expect. Sarah Taylor got injured, so I was actually at Lord's playing in an indoor game. Someone got on the tan. I was like, Heather Knight, please come to reception. And I thought someone had hit my car or I'd done something naughty. And then it was like, oh, can you ring Claire Connor? And I was like, oh God, I've definitely done something bad. So I rang up Claire and she was like, yeah, can you get on a plane to India tomorrow? And flew out to Mumbai. You played in that game, didn't you, Liz?
I did. I remember you arriving.
Yeah, it was quite a chunky face, wasn't I? Yeah, I did. I did all right on debut and we won, which was really nice.
You were the batting, didn't you?
I did, yeah. 49 caught me off.
Yeah,
I didn't get 50.
Yeah. Actually, it's interesting, you mentioned Tannoy, that was similar to your call-up, wasn't it,
yes.
Lynne? How you?
Well, it was very strange because I was playing in a fundraising game. My father came at tea time and he said, have you been named in the England team for the first test? Well, I said, no, I don't think so. And he said, well, is there another Thomas playing today? And I said, no. He said, well, you're in then, because they just announced it over the tannoy.
Oh, wow.
So that's how I found out. The letter came the following day.
Oh, a letter, wow.
Yeah, confirmation. The following
Did it have
day.
like a special stamp or anything, like an England stamp?
No, nothing like that.
Who did the letter who would it have come from back in those days?
It would have come from the chairman of the Women's Cricket Association. The Women's Cricket Association ran our cricket, didn't they, Carole, at our time?
Yeah.
And they did an excellent job. And they were all volunteers. All of them volunteers. They had jobs as well as doing that work. So Women's Cricket today, I've got a lot to thank them for the time they gave up.
What about you?
I cannot remember how I found out that I was in the...
Really?
I can't remember. I'm assuming because it was for the World Cup in New Zealand in 82. And I'm assuming that I may have got a phone call, but I would certainly have got a letter. And
everything was done by letter.
Everything
no
was
emails.
Officially confirmed by letter. Yeah.
And you would have had to have given up a bit of work at that time as well.
Yeah. I was working in the Midland Bank at the time, and I just had to go sort of cap in hand, asking very nicely if I could have some time off, especially having had like 7 weeks off the previous winter to go to India.
I was lucky with my time off. I had a very nice education authority.
Oh, yes.
And I had leave of absence with pay.
Yeah.
Every time I played.
Yeah.
Because you were a PE teacher, weren't you?
PE teacher, yes.
Yeah.
They were very, very good.
But we were saying, though, how you did have some teammates who couldn't play for England because their work just didn't allow them the time off.
Well, we went in 1968 to Australia and New Zealand for 4.5 months.
Wow.
And some of the team had to give up their jobs.
You had to get a boat across, did you? Get the boats across?
No, we flew.
You flew?
We flew,
right, okay.
yes. No boat. We did fly, but we were there 4.5 months. Yeah.
Wow.
God,
that's a long time.
And you were paid whilst you were away?
I was paid, and they paid someone to come in and do my job.
Oh, that's lovely.
So I was very, very lucky. I was one of the lucky ones.
I think when I think back to my debut, it was 2003, and that's in that time, we were all still working as well. We were, a lot of people were coaching. We had Claire Taylor, who I know you played with a little bit.
Yeah, I did.
She was a postie. She was had to take time off. We had Lucy Pearson, who was a teacher as well. And we just got a bit of lottery funding, I think. We got about £400 a month to cover our costs of equipment and travel. But I know for you guys, obviously, that was very different. You were out of pocket rather than...
Well, we paid for everything.
Yeah.
We paid for uniform and equipment, bats and pads and gloves. We paid for everything.
That's so different these days.
Yeah,
isn't
I
it?
feel a bit bad,
And they all had to be
Thanks for
white.
paving the way for us.
Everything had to be white. You couldn't wear any colour at all. And when I played first, we had white blazers.
White blazers?
White blazers.
Okay.
But it was the last year of white blazers.
But that was a
because
nightmare to keep
They
clean.
decided that it wasn't very practical for touring.
Yeah, I bet.
So we went to Navy. So we had Navy ones for touring. But everything had to be white. And one year, just in 1976, before we played in Lords, Rachel was given a pair of cricket shoes. That was unheard of. But
Oh, wow.
She was given, but they had green stripes on them. So she had to whiten the green stripe before she took the field, didn't she?
Yeah, that happened a lot, yeah.
She had to whiten. You had to have, everything had to be white.
And was it like skirts that you didn't wear?
Divided
cricket
skirts.
white,
Skirt,
divided,
3/4 socks.
Yeah.
Oh, how are the grass burns?
And then
The knee has the knees.
you had to wear your blazer everywhere. When you were waiting to go into bat, you wore your blazer.
Oh, wow.
If you were 12th and you took the drinks on, you went in your blazer.
In your blazer?
In
Wow.
your blazer. You had to wear your blazer all the time. Isn't that right?
That was certainly for the 12th taking drinks out. It was blazers, but it was a bit, by my time, it was a little bit more relaxed as far as sitting
We had
before
to
you went
wear
into bat or
blazers.
anything
Yes,
like that. We didn't
yeah.
have to wear them
But
then.
waiting to go into bat. We were stuck in these blazers.
What, so whilst you're waiting to bat, you had to wear your
Yes,
blazer and then
yes, you had to wear
take it
your
off?
blazer, you had to take it
Okay.
off.
Oh, wow. You should see some of the stuff our girls wear at the moment. They like turn up to training in Crocs and all sorts of stuff. None of the blazers.
But it's all fitted
Very
now as
strict
well,
rules.
isn't it, Heather,
Yeah.
for the women's? Because I know when you started playing, the kit that we got was oversized men's kit, wasn't it? But now you guys it's all sort of fitted to suit the female body, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, we just had Castor in actually to
did you?
to sort of check the kit and stuff.
Yeah.
So
You have
yeah,
a
it's
lot
very
of
different
kit
now.
as well.
Yeah, we do get quite a lot of kit. Yeah. I think I'm going to keep quiet actually.
When we went, where were we going? India. And I needed new shirts. So I phoned up the supplier and he said, I'm coming to see you off, I'll bring them to the airport. So he arrived with the shirts, but he brought England hockey shirts. And of course, they're nothing like the cricket shirts. Yeah. So luckily I'd packed my old ones. But when we were in India then, of course, we'd put the kit into the hotel laundry in Calcutta, and we put it into the laundry, and then we went on a bus tour. And as we were passing the river, we could see our kit being washed and hammered against the stones.
That's amazing.
That is
isn't it?
amazing.
And so when you travelled and you stayed in hotels, I think before we started this, I said, did you stay in hotels? Obviously, the girls now get to stay in the most amazing places like 5-star, the Taj Palace and all that sort of stuff. I'm guessing that was nowhere near
But we
your
stayed
experience.
on tour. We stayed in private homes, didn't we? That's how I have still so many friends in Australia and New Zealand who stayed with them. But for test matches, we moved into hotels then, didn't we?
Yeah, that was still the same when I was playing. Very much the same anyway. Yeah.
And you would pay for your hotels as well still?
Once we were out in the other country, whatever it was, then it was covered by their association.
Right.
And
Yeah, we didn't pay
when
for
we
them.
were there, we were often given an allowance for food each day as well.
Oh, we were never given that.
Yeah, we
never
got onto that by then.
We never given anything for food.
On a home tour, it was different.
Yes.
Again, the hotel was covered by the tour or whatever, but all our transport for getting there and everything
paid
like that
ourselves.
we paid ourselves.
Yeah. So you used to drive between the games, not
That's right.
Oh,
That's right.
invariably, we'd be going home.
We're going back
between-
to work.
Going home, back to
To
work as
for
well.
2
yeah.
days and then go off again. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember in 1984 when New Zealand were over, we played a test match here. I finished the match lying on my stomach watching the rest of the game from the pavilion because I'd been hit on the back of my calf and had a bruise about the size of my calf. And I went back to work the next day and had to work about 3 or 4 days that week and then head off for the next match.
No physio or no?
Self-diagnosis.
No, there was a physio at the match, but that was it.
That was all.
I was just
We didn't
deal
have
with it.
or anything like that.
No, we did.
Dust
We did.
yourself
Your
off and
coach.
off you go.
You're made of tough
We
stuff, weren't you?
We did have a manager.
Did they do everything though? The manager was the coach, the physio, the
No,
doctor.
to be honest, Rachel did everything with us.
Oh, did she?
Yes, Rachel did everything.
Oh, yeah.
Well, she had so much to do with obviously the first World Cup and
Yes,
Sir Jack
yes,
Hayward,
that
and
did, yeah,
you would have
yes.
had a up close look at how that all unfolded. I can imagine.
Yes, between the two of them, they managed to pull it off, and it was a great success. I think we had a lot of publicity after that, much more than we'd had before. You know, people started to think, oh, there is a women's team.
Yeah.
But I think it's the World Cup that started that off.
Definitely. Do you remember much from that World Cup?
I don't remember a lot. I remember the final. Well, we won, didn't we? I remember the final, and we were introduced to Princess Anne. And I always told Rachel, now don't forget, I'm Welsh, I'm not English. So every time she introduced me, she'd say, and she introduced me, she mentioned my name to Princess Anne. And before Rachel could say anything else, she said, oh yes, you're the foreigner in the team.
What about you, Heath, for the 2017 World Cup final? Just like that day in itself was unbelievable, wasn't it?
Oh, it was
in terms
crazy.
of the crowds.
Yeah, I remember the batters, we used to go early in a little car to get in early for the nets, and I just remember seeing the members just queued all the way around, and it was sort of 3 hours before the game, and like you just got this sense that, okay, this is amazing. And then I remember doing the national anthem. It was so Eileen Ash rang the bell, who I'd
Oh yeah,
yes.
you
who I'd
did a
met.
bit of yoga with her.
Yeah, I
didn't
did.
you?
I went to a house in Norwich a few years before that, and she's an amazing lady. I don't know if you spent much time with her, but she was lovely. So it was really nice to see her do that. And then they put Rachel on the big screen. Obviously, she's no longer with us, and just the enormity of the day, I think, was pretty cool. And seeing like loads of people that had kind of helped us to get there. Like lots of ex-players were there, and it was a cool day. Obviously, winning it as well in front of a home crowd was
That's
really
what I
special.
wish now. I wish Rachel was here now to see the massive change that's come about, you know, that she instigated really.
Do you think she had any idea how much her legacy is felt within all the generations across the women's game? Do you think she would have been aware of that?
She did see it start, you see, to change, you know. Yes.
It takes people like her to create change, doesn't it?
Yeah, because Rachel's last tour was the World Cup in New Zealand, which was my
in
first.
82, yes,
So I did actually get
she
to play with her for
played
England.
So was she captain then?
No, she wasn't. no.
I played then, didn't I? In 82.
You were
I was
international. You were international.
the captain of the international 11. Yes,
Okay,
I'd finished playing for England, so I was captain of the international 11.
And that was my debut. Was the match against the international 11.
Oh wow! So that's amazing.
Have to get the scorecard up for that. See how you all did.
How did you do on your debut?
I think I got 4 wickets.
Oh, not bad.
You got 4 wickets.
Yeah, I got 4.
Yeah, you got 4 wickets.
Definitely got 4 wickets.
One thing I'm interested to know is, obviously we've been speaking a lot about our experiences playing for England, but in terms of how we all got into cricket, because I can imagine there would be some similarities, some differences. Heather, let's start with you, because I know you played a lot of boys and men's cricket, as we probably all did, down in Plymouth, wasn't it? Around that neck of the woods. Tell us how you got into
my older
the
brother
game.
Steve just started playing cricket, and I was that annoying little sister that wanted to do everything that he did. So I just tried it and absolutely loved it. I love the kind of team element of it, but also like you have your sort of individual moment to sort of be in the game. I just went down to my local club, Plymstock, down in Plymouth, and played boys and men's cricket. Played with my brother actually, which was really nice. I didn't play women's cricket till I was about 13 or 14.
I was introduced to Wendy as being somebody who enjoyed cricket. She said, well, I'm going along to Leyland on Sunday. Would you come along? So we went on the train, got there to discover it was Lancashire and Cheshire junior and senior county trials. She hadn't said that. So I went out to play. It was literally the first time I had ever batted in the middle of a pitch with 11 fielders. I'd never done it before. I'd only ever played in the path of the park. So that's how I got into cricket. Yeah. The entertaining part was getting changed, of course.
Oh yeah, where did you get changed?
Oh no, the car. It was always the car.
Gosh. It was the toilets for me when I was playing cricket.
Yeah. But it was good.
Room sometimes.
It was good fun. I did that for about 4 years, something like that.
Yeah. It's mad that your first hardball proper game was 14 then.
Yeah.
And it took someone to sort of coax you into doing that. It's just a few opportunities, I guess, to get
I'd never even really considered it before.
Yeah.
I'm just glad that I agreed to go.
Well, yeah, definitely. Went on to do pretty well.
I was brought up watching my father play.
Oh,
he
so
played
was
for the local Davin, a local village team.
Yeah.
And at tea time, I used to get the men to throw a tennis ball at me in the nets. And in the nets, she went in the nets. I thought that was wonderful.
Yeah.
I was only about 6 or 7. And my father bought me a bat in Woolworths. And it slipped into the handle. So if you swung at the ball, the bat just went out to the handle and flew. And you were left with the handle.
Just like a rounder's bat.
But I watched him play, and then I found out there was a local boys team, a church team, so I played with the boys. I played with that, and my father came and umpired the matches. First time I put pads on was when I went to college. I went to college in Chelsea College in Eastbourne, PE College, and it's the first time I put pads on and gloves, and I was waiting to go into bat in the trials with the college, and my turn came. I went out, and the lecturer said, put your pads and gloves on. I said, no, I never wear them. She said, well, you've got to. They're using a hard ball out there, and they're bowling fast. And I said, well, I played with boys, I said, and they used a hard ball and they're bowling faster than they are.
And so you didn't go out with your pads on?
No, she made me.
Oh,
I had to go back and put my pads on and my gloves on. That's the first time I put pads and gloves.
But still no helmet?
No helmet. No helmet, no. I've only tried the helmet on once, and that was a couple of years ago. And I put it on, and I turned my head, and my head just turned in the helmet.
Because the helmet was too big for you.
The helmet didn't turn.
So would you want to be playing the cricket that you see now? What do you make of it all?
Well, as an opening bat, I'd like to face the fast bowlers now.
Yeah.
To see how they compare with...
We'll get you in the nets tomorrow if you want.
Okay.
I'll lend you my helmet.
Have to tighten it up a bit.
Just to compare them, the speed with what I faced. They never said the speed of our fast bowlers, did they? No. Sharon Treadray and Tina McPherson of Australia were the fastest that I faced. And we had Mary Pilling playing the same time as I did, and she was fast.
She'd pretty much finished. I don't think I ever actually played against her.
She was quite fast. But Sharon Treadray, the Australian fast bowler, was fast.
Quick,
I remember facing her once. That was quite enough.
Did you face Catherine Fitzpatrick? She might have just been coming in?
No, she was just after me. Just after me.
Yeah.
Well, my first game in Australia, I opened the batting with Diz. Do you remember Diz?
Yeah, I remember Diz.
Do you remember Diz?
Yes.
And of course, Diz had been to Australia with the previous tour in '57. So I looked round, we went into bat, and the wicketkeeper was standing way back. So I called Diz down. I said, why is she standing so far back? And she said, so that she can see the ball more easily when it gets to her. So I thought, right, I faced the ball. First ball, zoom! I heard the sound of it pass my head.
No helmet as well.
No helmet, no. But all you did was, you could hear the ball passing, the noise of it. Did you have that? Well, you didn't open the batting, though, did you? You batted in the middle order?
Very occasionally I opened the batting because I started off playing for England as a bowling all-rounder, went in about number 7, something like that. But then in '84, I opened in the last Test match. I got promoted to
did
open.
you?
Yeah, so I went from going number 7 to opening the batting within the same series.
That is a big jump.
Wasn't that I'd done anything, but so I went to open the batting, and in the second innings got 158 not out. So from
Good
then
decision
on,
then, yeah.
from then on, I was opening the batting. But then later on, I went batted number 3 most of the time. So I very much became a batter who bowled a little bit.
So was that all Test matches for you, or was it one day?
No, I played one days as well.
One days, yeah. So
Only Test matches. Well,
Only Test
we
matches.
just started playing one day. I did play a few one-day games. The World Cup in '73 that started it all.
yeah,
But all in white, no colours.
of course, yeah.
White
yeah.
strip,
Red
no
Bull.
colours.
Would you like to play T20 or the 100? What do you think of the 100?
I wouldn't have been chosen to play in the T20.
What format do you prefer watching these days?
Test.
You prefer the Test
Oh yes,
still?
the Test.
Yeah.
Much
Not many
more to
opportunities to
Test.
watch those, is there?
Yeah,
Unfortunately. Are you coming tomorrow? On Sunday, sorry.
Yeah.
You quite often come to a lot of our games, don't you?
I
See you in your
them
Welsh.
all, yes. I
Yeah.
follow them all every summer, and
Yeah.
I'm only sorry that more players of my era don't come. I do tell them when I see them. Enid comes.
She does,
Yeah,
yes.
Enid does.
does.
You know when Enid's there, you hear Enid.
You hear it before
You
you
hear
see
it in the crowd,
her.
don't you?
If I tell her when the matches are, because she can never remember.
Yeah.
So I'll be having an email now shortly asking me where's the next match.
Yeah.
And
She
when.
sends me the longest text.
Oh,
She loves an emoji actually as well. But yeah, she's good
Well, we
value.
got
Get
on
her
well.
along if you ever need tickets.
we got on well together.
Yeah, she's good cracking, isn't
We
she?
got on the field
Yeah.
and off the field too,
Yeah.
together.
Yeah. Well,
Did you have roommates when you guys toured?
Yeah, when we
toured,
toured, we'd get, but we were always allocated our rooms.
Yeah.
And allocated our roommates
Yeah.
as well.
Me and Lynne often
Yes,
shared
yeah,
together.
we used to be roommates,
We could
didn't
choose. We
No.
could choose our test matches. You know, we could choose occasionally if
Yeah.
we wanted to do room with someone.
Yeah. We
Otherwise, it was just-
mostly got told who we were.
It was nice to change round, though, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
pick out of a hat and
Yeah.
Well, the
Get
girls
on with it.
get their own room now. These
Yeah, we
days,
get our own
don't
room
they?
now. Yeah.
you get your own room.
Yeah, which is
How
nice.
nice.
Come on, Ed, tell us what it's like now. We want to know
Oh, God, okay.
how you travel, what's your hotel
Well, we have
like?
thrones and they carry us round and we go to the... No, I'm joking.
Red carpets.
No, like we're really lucky.
Yeah.
Like we get to stay in really lovely hotels, have our own rooms. We're quite mollycoddled these days. We've got 2 physios, 2 SSCs. We've got a masseuse, which is really nice.
Yeah,
I could have done with that.
People.
On your car.
Yeah, we do. We have a lot.
19
So,
what do they all do?
just
19 of them?
go and chat to each other, really. So,
a lot of
bowling
balls.
coaches, fielding coaches, that sort of thing. Yeah, we're very lucky. We do get looked after really well.
How do you think the youngsters are these days coming through? Do you think they have a understanding of, you know, what Lynne and Carole sort of went through when they played? Do you think they have that appreciation, or do you think it's quite hard for them to?
Yeah, I think it's hard because a lot of the younger players, it's all they've known really. I think
Yeah.
sort of when we were made professional, we'd had jobs or gone to university and worked, I guess. Whereas now, often you're given a contract, whether it's regional or whatever, at 17, 18, and then that's kind of your life in the game, I guess.
Yeah.
So it is a bit different, and I actually really loved being able to go to university and have stuff outside of cricket, and like I'm a lot poorer than those girls are going to be, but I guess I had a lot more of a rounded experience, and I think I'd love to get you guys to meet some of the girls actually. And
That would be
I actually was telling Maddie Villiers a few years ago that when teams went to Australia, they used to have to get a boat over.
Yeah.
And she thought I was pulling her leg. She didn't believe me. I had to get her to Google it because she thought I was winding her up.
But you would now, I think one of the big differences is the amount of coverage that you get. You're obviously in the papers, the media a lot more. So with that element of the social media, which wasn't even when I was playing, how that's a big pressure, isn't it? You're under a lot more scrutiny these days, I would imagine, than we were when we were playing.
I think I've definitely noticed it in the last sort of 3-4 years. Like everyone's got an opinion really, and I think it can be quite hard to avoid that sometimes as a young player in particular. When you're on social media a lot, you've kind of grown up with it, and there's certainly, I guess, that awareness, I think, which isn't always is helpful sometimes. I do think younger players coming in care a lot more what other people think. A little bit, whether that's a generational thing or a social media thing. I'm not too sure, but yeah, it brings different pressures, and you kind of have to look after those young players and try and let them know that all the opinions that matter are in the dressing room, really.
Yeah. I think the first time that we really came across any major publicity was for the World Cup final in '93. When we suddenly found ourselves on the front pages of the newspapers, and that we'd never had that before. Well, in sort of '93,
we had coverage once in one game, an area game, West of England playing against East Anglia, and one of the girls dropped her contact lens and couldn't find it. So 5 of the girls went across the wicket and crawled down and found it. But the next day, front page of the local paper were 5 bottoms.
With their skirts on.
Oh no!
We had publicity through that.
Well, what did they say? All publicity is good publicity.
Well, that's in '93. I think the men were doing particularly badly against Australia in '93, and I think the very fact that there was a cricket team that was actually
that helps sometimes.
doing all right was good. So we actually ended up on the front page of those papers.
But what I want to finish with is just what you would all like to see happen in the women's game in the next 10 or 20 years. I think we'll start with you, Heath, because you're in the mix every day, aren't you?
I would love to see no barriers for a young girl getting into the game, really. I think we've all discussed sort of barriers that we had growing up. I think there's a lot less now, but I still think there's a little bit of a way to go to kind of get to that place where it's really natural for a girl to just play cricket.
Yeah.
I'd love to see that, and more crowds and equal opportunities across the board.
Yeah. Still, I know we always talk about how amazing and how much growth there is in the game. There does still seem to be more work to be done. What about you, Lynn? What would you say? Or have you got any sort of feedback in general that you'd like to give us?
What I don't understand about the game today, when I watch the batting, I don't understand why the batters try and lift the ball over the first line to get a 4 when they can pierce the field through the gaps.
Just keep it on the floor.
Yeah.
Oh God! If I get caught on Sunday now, I'm going to get the BDI
I can't understand that
from Lynn in the crowd.
You can pierce the field without taking the chance of hitting it over the fielder. That's one thing, and the other thing is these reverse bat things.
You would have been great at those, Lynn. As a hockey player, you would have been good
I can
at those.
understand it.
You sit with 2 players that's probably one of their best shots.
But I can understand it if you're not scoring in other ways. But
that's
when
why we play it, I think.
Shots and scoring boundaries, and then you try it, I don't understand that.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I know Charlotte Edwards would agree with you on that one. Keep the ball along the ground. What about you?
Yeah, I think very much what Heather said, just more opportunities. Everything's going in the right direction and just more heading in that direction. You see, now, obviously I'm only watching on the television quite a lot, and I see some grounds where there are fantastic crowds. I don't know if this is the case, but it looks like there's some grounds where there are really good crowds, and yet there's other grounds where there seem to be far fewer people there watching, and get it to the point where every ground that you go to, there's a really good crowd there.
Yeah.
And I love seeing the fact that so many young girls are in there, in the crowd, enjoying it. I must admit, I love the 100. I love watching that. I really do, because of what it's done for bringing the crowds in. And you see the families. And if those girls who are there watching then see, well, this is something that I could do. They need that opportunity locally to be able to do it. And the more opportunity there is, obviously the more players will come through, the better the cricket gets at every single level. So yeah, that's what I would hope. Just continue in the direction it's going. I'd
agree with that. I think mine would be exactly that, I think. And as well, making sure that the role models continue to be
Yeah.
as accessible as they are. Like Heather and your team are so good at engaging with young girls and boys, and I think that's so important. I think one thing that I'd like is more on a global scale is I think we're very lucky here in England in terms of the opportunities that we're given, whereas I think you look at some countries and even now they're not given the opportunities that they should be. So I think on a global scale I'd like to see a bit more from that. But otherwise I think there's lots of good things happening. Obviously the women now are allowed in Lords, which took a long time, but we're finally there. But thank you all so much for your time. It's been amazing to just sit down and chat with you all. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.